I wasn't a popular kid. And I thought maybe this will give me some street cred, right? So the next day happens, and I'm like, I see my buddies walking up, and I know what I'm about to do. They don't see it coming, and I just start throwing punches. And I punch one kid, and he falls down to the ground. And I punch another kid, and you know what? His dad did teach him to turn the other cheek. So he started running away as I was punching him in the back of the head. He knew he could take it. You know, Jesus, you guys, he doesn't always tell us to be passive. Sometimes we got to be a warrior. The Bible says God is a warrior, man is a warrior. Sometimes we got to stick up for ourselves. But there's some scenarios where you know you can run. Well, anyways, a teacher goes to tackle me, and I punch the teacher too. And then the campus cop tackles me, and did I punch him? No, he had weapons. I was smart enough for that. So he handcuffs me, and you know what happened, you guys? The worst possible thing that could happen happened. The whole school started chanting my name. Danny, Danny. And I got this sense of pride that I never had. Finally, the kids in my school saw me. Finally, I was a somebody. Finally, I was getting the attention I always longed for. Let me tell you guys something about adolescent youth, okay? About kids that make a lot of mistakes. We all have emotional tanks in our heart, and they're waiting to be filled with love. Do you understand? If we're not getting the proper love from mom, dad, and God, we will put things in our heart, or we will run on empty. And as a high schooler, I was running on empty. And so I needed that attention. So I owned this new identity. I was like, okay, I thought I was a lover, but I guess I'm a fighter. And so from there on, I became a fighter, and I fought my way through my high school years and into the, well, I didn't go to college, but into the college days. And I owned this identity. And I was just as scrawny back then as I am right now, but miraculously, by the grace of God, I was able to win some fights. And until I didn't. And there was a really bad fight I got in one time. And you guys, it was all because I was a broken child longing for love. And I had this new identity that was birthed. And so I get in this fight, and this guy's got a bottle in his hand, and he cracks me over the head with it. And then I'm bleeding everywhere. And then I hit the ground, and he jumps on me and dislocates my shoulder. And then he continued to hit me so many times that my face was unrecognizable. And so I still didn't know how to move forward. So I kept the tough guy persona. And you know what I did? I wanted revenge. I carried around a baseball bat in my car just in case I ever saw this guy. And it was a really bad season of my life. I had no one to turn to. I was angry. Bitterness is like a cancer, you guys. It's not good for anybody. And I was festering with this bitterness and this cancer and this anger. But guess what? God is faithful. God is faithful, and he found me, and he saved me, and he pulled me out of the trenches. And you know what he did? He had someone invite me to church. I found Jesus. I had an encounter with Jesus, and I decided to surrender my life to him. And you know what? I pulled the baseball bat out of my truck, and you know what I replaced it with? Love and forgiveness. I said, you know what? If I ever see this guy, I'm gonna give him such a big bear hug. I might even give a little smooch on the cheek. Nah, I want to do that. But that's what God does. And you know what? I'm just one person out of millions of people who have transformed from the inside out, who's broke the generational curses and got replaced with generational blessing. And I wonder for the adults, raise your hand if you would consider yourself a bloodline breaker. Like, I broke the curse of my family. Yeah, let's go.